Hi, Buzz Delano here. We're going to talk about Celerity Technologies Universal Fiber Optic, Celerity UFO we like to call it. Celerity UFO is a fiber optic cable solution for HDMI, DisplayPort and DVI that works up to 1,000 feet, providing uncompressed signal transmission and is super easy to install, really fast. In fact, no tools, no fiber terminations. It's literally a plug-and-play solution. A little bit about Celerity. We started the business in 2012, located in Southern California, and our goal was to solve the common problems of HDMI signal extension. When we set out to do this, we knew that there were a number of things to overcome. We had to keep providing a high amount of bandwidth. We needed to have a cable that was easy to manage in the field. And we also knew that HDMI was going to continue to increase its bandwidth demands over the years. When we started, it was really only in the worlds of 1080i. A few years later, we had 4K. And of course, what's coming? 8K. We'll be ready for that. We'll talk about that later. So fiber cabling was the only way to go. That was the first. That was job one. We're going to use fiber optic cable. Number two, well, we had to figure out a way to take a signal out of a source, Blu-ray, AVR, streaming device like an Apple TV, convert it from electrical information to optical, send it across the fiber up to 1,000 feet, have it be received at the other end, and reassembled, if you will, from optical to electrical so you can put it into a display, TV, monitor, projector, that kind of thing, right? And have everything be perfect and uncompressed. We also needed to do it in a really, really tiny package. We wanted to get away from bail-ins and boxes and things like that. We wanted it to be easy to manage behind a screen, in a rack, didn't take up a lot of space, easy to handle. And we wanted to take the time and the guesswork out of it, of having to make your own terminations. We've accomplished all of that. Spec-wise, it's 18 gigabit HDMI 2.0. It's all OM3, 50/125 micron fiber. So there's the tech specs on it. It's also plenum rated. So in any facility you're going to install it in, you're not going to meet code. You're good to go on that. And once again, it's durable. Fiber is pretty strong, actually. So this is a spool of 100 feet of Celerity UFO cable. Nice and lightweight, weighs less than half a pound, easy to deal with. You see that we've punched the spool so you can put it on a cable cart, and it's really easy to spool right off the spool. Imagine that for your pre-wires. Another best practice: do not, and I repeat, do not take this fiber off the spool and drop it on the floor, for example, and then pull it in your pre-wire pathway. Big no-no. Something bad's going to happen. Keep the fiber on the spool. The spool's a tool. UFO transmit and receive connectors. Pretty cool. Tiny, high performance. You can see there's an HDMI connector, one each. That's the business end of Celerity. That's really where all the technology magic happens, inside these very small devices. So what happens is, imagine this is your transmitting connector at a source. Again, Blu-ray, AVR, switch, streaming device. So the signal comes in to the connector, electrical from the source, and inside here, Celerity gets a hold of it. We process the signal into optical information. We use a laser. It's a VCSEL system. VCSEL, look it up if you like. And what that does is that laser drive system sends the signals over the fibers, and there's 6 of them in the fiber, by the way, 6 OM3 glass fibers, up to 1,000 feet. At the other end, looks the same, but it operates in reverse. The optical information comes into the Celerity RX connector, where it's returned to electrical information and then into a display, or a projector, or a digital signage panel, for example. Really cool. That's what we do. Fiber cable, technology modules, really tiny. You'll also notice on each of these that I'm holding up the TX and RX connectors, this little dongle. What that is a USB power cable. It's on both of them, the transmitter and the receive connector, but you must plug it in on the receiving connector, meaning at the display. That's where you get power to activate the electronics in here. So on the receiving end, you plug the USB connector into a hot USB on the television or the projector. Alternatively, you could put a USB to AC adapter on it, like an iPhone adapter, and then you could plug it into constant AC. That might be a good idea if you want to get away from the power management and all that issues with a TV. So you got a couple of choices there. Going back to the source, however, the USB power cable is there for you in the event of catastrophe or something's gone wrong with the power from an HDMI source. An HDMI source should give you 5 volts of power coming off of one of its pins and activate our electronics. If it doesn't, you got the USB there as a backup. We won't let you down. So plug in at the source, make the connection at the display, make USB power connection, you're good to go. Now, let me show you how you join the fiber cable with the transmitter connectors. One of the things we want to talk about here and point out is this type of connector that we use. It's what's known as an MPO, multi-fiber push-on. It's a great connector. It's passive, meaning it's bidirectional. So the fiber that goes in the wall, you don't have to worry about transmit end, receive end, none of that. Just pre-wire it, works both ways. You're good to go. They're passive, but they're all optical. They're very high performance, very precision oriented, virtually no insertion loss. So they're really the best things to use. Proven in the data telecom industry for many, many years. When you take them out of the package and you pre-wire, I can see it here, they're shrink wrapped over a little protective rubber end cap. Leave all of that on when you're doing the pre-wire. Once you're done your pre-wire and you're ready to, let's say, make your connector with the connections, that's when you remove the shrink wrap, carefully remove the rubber cap, and you don't touch the lens. Since there's 6 fibers in here, there's obviously six little fiber lenses there. They need to remain completely clean. So now what we do to make the connection is really simple. MPO connector. We also supply you a couple of these little couplers. They're keyed, so if you're working blind or in the dark, that sounds like a really secure connection. Good to go. And that's on the cable coming out of the wall, for example, on this smaller spool of Celerity, 35 feet. Easier to use for the demo. Then we go to our TX or RX connector, remove the end cap. Same thing, don't touch it, keep it clean. And wow, that sound, it snaps in. It's locked, it's not going anywhere. That's all it takes. No tools, no tricks, no terminations. So you have optical alignment of those 6 lenses. You have mechanical guide pin and socket alignment. You have physical alignment with the coupler, and of course you have a protection for it as well. So you can be confident that this connection with the UFOs and the coupler in between can be placed anywhere in the signal path. It's going to be locked. You're good to go. It's a really robust, reliable connection. So that's really all it takes to make a Celerity cable. Pre-wire, connect, no tools. Really cool. A couple of things about the TX and the RX connector cables. The standard length that comes in the kits, and we'll talk about how you order the product in a little bit, they're about this size, about 3 inches of the fiber. That extra fiber there gives you a little bit of bend radius, so you work in tight spaces and keep it secure and not risk any damage. And of course you have your MPO coupler on it. But we also make the UFO TX and RX cables available in a 6-foot length. I won't bother unspooling it, but there are 6 feet of fiber. So if you have a situation maybe behind a large display where your cable is coming in at one location and you need to extend over to the ports, a 6-foot transmitter receive cable might come in handy. And just the same, we're thinking about you. We've had enough requests for a longer one. We also make them available with a 20-foot lead. So the cool thing is, for example, 100 feet of UFO cable, right? If you say, yeah, I need the 6-footers as well, you're actually getting 112 feet. 100 feet of cable and 6 feet of fiber on the connectors. But anyway, 3 lengths, 3 sizes, whatever's most convenient, that's how you order it. 35 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet, and 60 feet, you order them as a kit. One box, everything's in there. Now, from 80 feet and up, and this also allows us to relax the pricing a little bit, that's where you order a la carte or individually. You can order the fiber cable in whatever length, 80, 100, 120, 130, 160, 200, all the way up to 1000. Just pick your cable length and order it. And either at the same time or later, you order your transmit and your receive connectors. So you don't have to get everything at once. So a couple of ways to order it: single box, individual parts and pieces. The individual ordering is also handy because we call it universal, right? DisplayPort, DVI, and HDMI. There's going to be situations where you may have to change out a cable pathway from HDMI to DVI, or HDMI upgrading to DisplayPort sometime in the future. Well, all you got to do is take the connector off and change it. The cable is universal. Speaking of that, the cable is so universal because the cable itself, being that it's 6 channels of OM3, as we talked about earlier, there's over 100 gigs worth of bandwidth performance in this. It's ideal for HDMI 2.1 when it comes out. We all know HDMI 2.1 is just about here. It's going to require 48 gigabits. So if you've got this in the wall, you're good to go. Your clients can relax. You can chill. No problem. You want to upgrade to 2.1? You just need to get new Celerity 2.1 transmitter receiver connectors when they're available. They'll pretty much look the same. They'll just be marked differently. So this is a really good solution, not only for today, but well into the future. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Appreciate the time. Want more information? CelerityTech.com, or give us a call. We'll be happy to talk with you, and we wish you really well for all of your work. Thanks a lot.